Okay, good afternoon, students. We'll continue with chapter 9. Chapter 9 of history, women, caste, and reform. Okay, we have already discussed about non-Brahman movement, right? Non-Brahman movement, self-respect movement, all these things we have already discussed, right? Now we are going to discuss about the different organizations who worked for the reforms. Okay, so in that, first we will discuss about Brahma Samaj. Okay. This Brahma Samaj was earlier Brahma Sabha. It was earlier it was Brahma Sabha. Fine. And so what happened? Brahma Samaj were the first, like that time what was happening, many of the people were in favor of Indian education, Indian culture, right? But okay, so at that time, what was happening? Many of the people they were in favor of Indian education, Indian culture. They wanted the children to educate in the traditional way, Indian traditional way, and many people were in favor of Western education, right? So in that case, Brahma Samaj was have they actually were the first who did the movement which favored both East and West. Okay, so they were the first who favored East and West. That means Indian culture plus Western education. Understood? So that is why it is written first reform movement East plus West. Otherwise, people were either with the Indian culture that we have studied the people like James Mill and all, they wanted to be with the Western culture, Western education. But there were people who wanted to be with the Indian culture, right? So in that way, Brahma Samaj was first who brought the reform movement for Eastern culture, that means Indian culture plus Western education. Understood? Now, next is this Brahmo Samaj. We have read about Angelist and Orientalist, Angelicist and Orientalist. So, in that, Anglicist were the people who were in favor of Western education, and Orientalist were the people who were in favor of Indian culture, Indian education. So, like this, it was divided into two parts, right? But this Brahma Samaj led the first movement, reform movement, which brought this Indian culture and Western education together. Okay. Now, this Brahma Samaj was considered the society of God. This was considered society of God. So, what do you think? The God were there in the society. No, basically the god were not there in the society. Actually, what was the concept of Brahma Samaj? The concept was there will be no corruption, there will be no oppression. That means we are not going to oppress, we are going to bring the reform which brings equality, right? So people who are doing such thing are considered as God. Understood? People who are working for the betterment of the society, betterment of the other people, they are basically considered as god. That is why this was considered as the society of god. Understood? Now this Brahma Samaj was formed in, anyone remembers when was it formed? I still left the place blank. Anyone? No one remembers? Huh? In 1828, Sati Pratha was banned. Not Brahma Samaj was founded. Brahma Samaj was founded in 1830. Okay. In starting, we discussed, and you people now forgot. 1830. Okay. In 1830, Brahma Samaj was formed. Okay. Now, it prohibited all forms of idolatry and sacrifice. As you know, that time, what was there? Sacrifice of animals were done. Right. Now, what was the thinking of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, that God is present everywhere. Okay, so making an idol and then worshipping it and then again putting that in water or river, that is not the way to do the thing. Okay, there should be no show off. So that kind of thing was prohibited in Brahma Samaj. They were against the idolatry. Understood? They were not in favor of worshipping the idols. Okay. So and also the sacrifice of animals, that was prohibited in uh, Brahma Samaj. They believed in the Upanishads. As you know, Raja Ram Mohan Roy was the linguistic. He was knowing more than one language, that means many languages, and he also read our ancient texts, right? So he was in favor of Vedas. Okay, sorry, Upanishads. So why he was not in favor of Vedas? See, what is there in the Vedas? In Vedas, more of the, if you see, rituals are there. Okay, if you read Vedas, more of the rituals, that you should do this thing, you should do that thing, this thing should be done like this, how yajna should be done, how this thing should be done. So how the thing should be done, that is mentioned in the Vedas. Okay, but when you read Upanishad, what is there in the Upanishad? So in Upanishad, it is mentioned about the life. Okay, functioning of life, why this life is there. Okay, what happens after the life, what should we do, how should we utilize our life, that thing is given in Upanishad. Understood? So that is why Raja Ram Mohan Roy, they believed in Upanishads. Okay, not in Vedas. Vedas, you have more of the rituals and all. Okay, how functioning should be done. But when you read Upanishad, you will get knowledge about the life, the actually what is the basic of life. Okay, what should you do, how should you utilize your life. Okay, so that thing is given in Upanishad. You would have read in class 6 about Upanishad. In Upanishad, what is mentioned about life, you would have read in class 6. In class 6 it is explained. Okay, I don't know if you remember or not. Does anyone remember what you have read in class 6 about Upanishad? Any one of you can tell me any one thing about that? No one remembers nothing, whatever you read in your previous class. If you are not going to remember the things in SST, if you are not able to connect, everything will be like a puzzle for you. Understood? So you should connect the things. You should keep the things in mind. Basically, in social studies, you read the things, what is happening around you. Many of the things are there which you need to, which is not there to learn, not to memorize, only to feel, to understand. Understood? Notice the things. Okay, next was forbid its members from criticizing other religious practices. Yes, these Brahma Samaj, they were against the idol worship and sacrifice. But if any of the people are doing that, are following that, these Brahma Samaj, people who were member of Brahma Samaj, they were not allowed to criticize those things. Understood? So criticizing other religious practices were prohibited in the Brahma Samaj. Understood? Shivani, what is this answer? That is called colonialism. You are talking about another point. Colonialism is a process by which powerful country controls another country. That is colonialism. I am asking about Upanishad. Upanishad is our religious text. That is what I am speaking about. That you would have read in class 6, not here. Next is now, if you see, critically drew upon the ideals of religions, Hinduism and Christianity. So, what they did, they critically viewed the religions. What are the practices, wrong practices going on in those religions? And after that, they bring reform for that. Okay, they did reform movement for that. Okay, so that the things can improve in the society. Like you can take the example of Sati Pratha. Sati Pratha was going on in Hinduism, in Hindu culture, right? So they brought this thing into notice that this is wrong thing which is going on in Hinduism. This is the wrong practice which Hindus are following. There is nothing mentioned in text that Sati Pratha should be followed. So after that, what happened? The Sati Pratha was banned. Okay, so like this, there were many such things were there in the other religions also, like in Hindu religion, in Christianity, there were many such things. Okay, so they used to view these things and they used to bring reforms for this. Okay, so whatever their negative and positive points were there, they used to go through their negative and positive dimensions, and after that they used to bring reforms for that. Now there was, as you all know, Raja Ram Mohan Roy. He was the founder of Brahma Samaj. but there were many other leaders also. So one such prominent leader was Keshav Chandra Sen. Keshav Chandra Sen was such a prominent leader in Brahma Samaj. Now, Keshav Chandra Sen, he contributed a lot in the expansion of Brahma Samaj. Okay, he spread the Brahma Samaj in other part of the country, and he expanded the Brahma Samaj. So he contributed a lot in the Brahma Samaj. But what happened, if you see, this Keshav Chandra Sen, he was sometimes, he has done some of the activities against the Brahma Samaj. Okay, like if you see, Brahma Samaj was bringing reforms for the evil practices which were there in the societies, right? This was the work done by the Brahma Samaj. Now, is one such thing was child marriage. So sati prata, child marriage, these things, the Brahma Samaj were against these things. Okay, they were bringing reforms for this. But what Keshav Chandra Sen did, he was working for the Brahma Samaj, but he himself married his daughter in very early age. Okay, so many of the leaders in Brahma Samaj, they did not like Keshav Chandra Sen because, as per them, he was not himself adopting the principles of Brahma Samaj. Okay, he was himself not following the instructions of Brahma Samaj. So, like that, many leaders did not like Keshav Chandra Sen, and because of that, there was division in the Brahma Samaj later. Okay. So, till now you only need this much to understand. Okay, in Brahma Samaj. Now, next is Derozio and Young Bengal. This is the other reformer. Okay. So his full name was Henry Louis Vivian Derozio. From 1809 to 1831. So his full name was Henry Louis Vivian Derozio, and as you can see, he only lived life for 22 years. Okay, and because of cholera, he died. Due to cholera, he died after 22 years. So he lived a short life, but he has done much more in his life. Understood? So, who was this Henry Louis Vivian Derozio? As with the name only, you can understand that he was not Indian, right? He was basically Anglo-Indian. Now, what is Anglo-Indian? I will make you understand how he was Anglo-Indian. He was a teacher, okay, at Hindu college. He was a teacher at Hindu college, and he was Anglo-Indian because his father was Portuguese. Father was Portuguese. Mother was English. That means from Britain. And he was born in Bengal, India. Understood? So if you see, his father was Portuguese, mother was English, and he himself was born in Bengal, India. That is why he was Anglo-Indian. Understood? Now, what he did, Anglo-Indian means his father and mother was foreigner and he himself took birth in India. Understood? His father was a Portuguese. His mother was from Britain. She was a English. And he was born in India, in Bengal. That is why he was Anglo-Indian. Understood? So, okay. Now the next thing is in 1820s he promoted radical ideas and encouraged his pupils to question all authorities, and he referred this as Young Bengal movement. Now if you see, at the age of 22 he died. He was very young, right? And he was a teacher in Hindu college. So he was teaching and he taught his students in such a way that he taught him that you should ask questions to the authority whatever is going on, and if you feel whatever is going on around you, you have right to question that. If you feel it is wrong, you can question that, right? So he taught his pupils to question the authorities. Understood? That whatever they want, they cannot do. You should question them. And this was referred as Young Bengal movement. If you see, he was himself very young and he was teaching the students. So students, if you see, they were very young, college students, so they were also very young. And these all young people came together and they did this Young Bengal movement. Understood? Basically, what was that? To question the authority. Understood? Whatever they want, they cannot do. Okay, so this was the thing. Now, if you see, the next statement is his students attack tradition and custom. demanded education for women, and campaigned for the freedom of thought and expression. Now, here what you see, basically, what Derozio taught. He taught his pupil to question the authority. If they feel something is going wrong, they should question. Okay, that kind of radical idea he taught to his pupil. Now, what happened? Many things were there in the tradition and custom in Indian tradition which was wrong, right? So for that, they started raising their voice. So they demanded education for women. Okay, his pupils demanded education for women. Okay, also if you see, they did campaign, okay, for freedom of thought and expression. That means a person should have freedom so that he can put his opinion and expression. Earlier in the British period, it was not like that. If you put your opinion and decision, they will put you into the jail. Understood? So the situation was not like that. So that today, whatever you say, you have freedom of thought and expression. But that time, it was not the scenario. If you say something against any of the authority, they will put you into the jail. Okay, so that at that time they campaigned for the freedom of thought and expression, that we should at least have thought and freedom of thought and expression. That means whatever we feel, at least should have the freedom to speak. Understood? And that is what Derozio taught them. He taught them to question the authority. If something is going wrong, and if you will be silenced, and so what will happen? The people will think you are weak, and they will oppress you. They will think you are ready to suppress. Understood? So he said that you should raise your voice. Okay. So this happened, and after that, if you see, he has brought such a revolution. And after that, something was going to happen, so he was removed from the Hindu college. As a teacher, he was teaching his pupil to raise voice, to question authority, right? So this was a very big thing. So the Hindu college removed him as the post of teacher, from the post of teacher, and at the age of 22, he died because of the cholera. Okay. So any question, anyone? See, basically, if you say Anglo-Indian, if Derozio's father was uh, Portuguese and his mother was English, so can he be Indian? He will be not called Indian, no. But when he took birth in India, he will be called Anglo-Indian because his father and mother does not belong to India. So he is not fully Indian. Understood? He is not fully Indian because his father and mother belong to foreign. Okay, that is why he is called Anglo-Indian. Okay. Okay, thank you all for today.